Hello, hello. Hi, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Try It Thursday. And I'm Lanita, and I'm also known as the Scrappy Grandma. And today I am sharing a very personal update with you. If you've been following my journey, sorry for moving everything around. If you've been following my journey, you know that for a while I truly believed that I was retiring from um, being a health and wellness coach and coaching. So, and a few years ago, my health collapsed and I experienced a major medical trauma that left me bedbound and barely able to function. And I didn't know if I'd ever be strong enough to really coach again. Plus I ended up just, I had to so focus on healing that I knew that I really couldn't help other people because my cup was empty. So I didn't know if I'd ever be strong enough to lead anyone again, and let alone show up consistently for others. And I felt like a fraud because I was carrying around extra weight. I was full of inflammation, and I had no energy. I definitely had no energy to be able to pour into helping others. And so as of January 1st of this year, I made the decision to step away in obedience. There's some other details, because my primarily I was an HCG coach, and there's legalities around the whole HCG thing, and so in obedience, I wanted to do things correctly, and I just wasn't able to, plus the energy and all that. So I retired. You know, I gave it all up. And I had peace with that. I really did. But what I thought was the end was really just a pause. And it was the pause that I needed um, in that quiet space, which I've been, I'm always seeking, what am I supposed to be doing? What do you want me to do? How can I serve you? And Yah began to rebuild me, and slowly and purposefully and patiently and through the healing, physical and emotional and spiritual, I returned to a place of clarity and strength that I never thought I'd see again. Honestly, I really never believed I'd be able to. I believed it was, my season was past, and I'm 63 years old. And I just, anyway. So, what I found along the way was that um, the need had not gone away, you know, uh, that people still needed help. I kept hearing so many women, it's like, I don't know where to start. I'm overwhelmed. I need someone to help me figure all this out. And I realized I am that someone, and I still have a passion and a love for helping women get healthy, mind, body, spirit, soul, everything. And so, and it's not because I have all the answers for sure, but because I've walked through this fire. I know what it feels like to lose control of your health, and I know what it takes to take it back. Or I know what I know the steps that I used to take it back. Um, and it was, one intentional step at a time. It was systematic and intentional. And it was been 8 years of this healing journey of getting my health back. So that's why I'm back. Um, Honestly, it's just as much as a surprise to me as anyone else because, like I said, I laid it down. But isn't that what the Father does? So, um, and this time I'm coaching from experience, not from perfection, from deep compassion and truth. Over the past year, I've been studying more deeply than ever. I've explored lots of different supplements and therapies that support real healing, like peptides like BPC 157, which heals the gut and heals tissue like tendons and ligaments, which in all of this, I've also found out that I have a genetic disorder, which explains so much through my life of physical issues that I've had. It's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and it is a connective tissue disorder. And so I have like hypermobility where my tendons are loose and slack, and I end up injuring them because, like my thumb and my fingers double jointed, and just I'm bendy again, and my body does things. And now that I'm 63 years old, I'm feeling the pain of my entire life of thinking I just had mad contortionist skills. Um, so the BPC 157 has been really, really helpful. Also, like methylene blue, lion's mane for mental clarity, because I had horrible brain fog, and so things like that. Um, and then in the weight loss field, the GLP-1s, and that's more so for, people have started because I've been in the industry, for the past decade, as a weight loss coach. I had my clients were coming to me saying, hey, what do you know about GLP-1s? And so I started researching and so on. So, but all of these things have helped to restore clarity, things that help to restore clarity and support the body from the inside out, supplements and peptides and so forth. So these tools, combined with clean eating and biblical principles, and years of walking the wellness path, are helping me to guide others safely and wisely. So here's what's new. I have re-engaged with my Facebook groups, which, I pretty much let I just let kind of go because I didn't have the energy or the strength to engage in them. So I have a few, because I like to be able to keep each health modality or practice kind of separate so that it's not confusing, because each one requires different things. So if you're interested in the GLP-1s, I know they're controversial. A lot of the things that I have learned about and I support, or I make available, are controversial with Western medicine. Western medicine failed me. Western medicine has failed me my entire life. One, it's taken me 63 years to be diagnosed with a genetic condition. I do understand that it wasn't something that anybody knew about until, it's really come out more recently. But, I was treated like I was crazy with everything that I would take to the doctor and go, why is my body doing this? And it's like, we can't see any reason why. It must be in your head. To now find out that no, it wasn't in my head. It was actually very real. So, like, I have a group with GLP-1s, which are basically like the Manjaro, the semaglutide, tirzepatide, Wegovy, what are they all called? Ozempic, for weight loss. And then I also, my tried and true, the one that, has worked well for me, which is highly controversial, is HCG. And, so, whether you're interested in GLP-1s, HCG, or just cleaning up your lifestyle, or just need support, I have a group for you. So, and I'm also considering maybe launching a Discord channel to provide deeper connection and daily coaching prompts and accountability threads. That's just in the thought, in just thinking about currently, not there yet. So, but I've recommitted to coaching, and now through the lens of great. This isn't about hits or chasing a number on a scale, and any period of time, that is not my focus. It's about taking health back and being intentional and using nutrition and being honest with yourself. I always wanted to strive to have a lean, thin, tall physique. I am German and Polish and English. My DNA is more curvy, not tall and thin. And once I realized that there was no way to force my genetics to become something I was not created or my DNA would not support, it brought such peace, because then I stopped striving for that, and I just started loving and accepting the DNA, the genetics that the Father had given me, and then started nourishing it and taking care of it and loving it as it is. So, um, so like I said, if you know me, you know I don't. It's not about the number on the scale. It's about living health, being in health, living a healthy lifestyle. So if you know, to the women out there who feel stuck, and you don't have to have it all figured out. My goodness, this has been, like I said, well, I think it all started in 2011, and now we're 2025. So this has been a long journey for me. That's what 2011 is when I decided at 225 pounds, wearing a size 16 going into a size 18 and 20, um, that I needed to take my health back. And I was 48 at the time. So this has been a journey. And like I said, it wasn't about the scale. It was about being able to play with my grandkids, being able to do the homesteading chores and stuff that that I started doing during this process. Um, so if you're feeling stuck, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to start, and you don't have to do it alone. So this is the heartbeat of Becoming New Again Wellness. It's a place where healing is layered. Real food is medicine, herbs are medicine, and community really does matter. So if you're ready, or even if you're just thinking about how do you take the next off this road with me? And what I'm going to be doing is I will put the links to the different groups, the comment. If you have any questions at all, you message me privately, but I'll have my email. I'll have all of my social media contact information, to where you can contact me, ask questions about the groups, anything like that. And so, all this to say, this is kind of a follow up to my last Try It Thursday, which is just crazy, because I mean, I was just in such a different place just like a month or so ago. And it's crazy what the Father has done. And honestly, it's because I laid it all down. That's the beauty of this, is this is just such how the Father does things. And it was a hardship. It was a hardship to my spirit, because I have such a passion on helping women get healthy. And it was also on on our finances, because I'm an affiliate to different pharmacies, and so that help with provide the medication. I do receive commissions and such, and that all went away. And and like with the HCG kits and everything. But Rusty and I, we prayed about it, we discussed it, and it was out of obedience. We were laying it down. And look what the Father does. He actually made a way that I am not doing anything illegal. I'm doing everything above the board. Everything is up and up. And, and then my health is all back to where I'm in a place where I just recently did an HCG round, the first successful one I've been able to do in years. I just wasn't capable of doing it over the past 8 years while I was so sick. And the healing, because what HCG does is it resets the hypothalamus, which is the brain of our endocrine system, which controls all of our hormones and everything. My hormones were out of whack. My weight was creeping up. I was 30 pounds over my lowest weight, which was too low. So I was, but at least 20 pounds over where I really wanted to be, but I didn't have the energy or the strength, or I didn't have it in me to address it, even just a month or so ago. And then I talked to my nurse practitioner, and she's like, why aren't you doing HCG? Because we were dealing with getting my hormones all settled in. And I had tried bioidentical hormones and they made me wacky. They made me mean. They made me pick at my husband, which is unacceptable. And so it's like, nope, that's not going to work. And so in talking to her, we were like looking at alternatives, looking for options. How do we, because with my labs, my hormones were like zero. I have zero estrogen, zero progesterone. I had a hysterectomy in my 30s. I have no parts. And, when I lost all my weight, because a lot of estrogen can be produced and stored in your fat. But when I lost weight, that went away back in 2011, 2012. So, and I know hormones are important for our brain, for our bones, for all the things. And so she and I set out a plan, and this nurse practitioner is with one of the telewellness companies that I'm affiliated with. She and I sat down, we went over my labs, and we made a game plan. And she's like, the first thing I would do is do an HCG round. And then we had, some peptides, BBC 1x7, NAD, which I haven't tried yet, but that's next on my list. I wanted to get through the HCG round first. And then, over the counter, pregnenolone, DHEA, supplements that can help the body produce its own hormones, methylene blue, berberine, which is it's like a natural GLP-1. I personally cannot do GLP-1s because of my health history and all of my gut issues. I had 18 inches of my colon removed back in 2014, 15. And GLP-1s slow gastric emptying, and I have a motility issue. Anyway, I take herbs, triphalia, the tincture, and magnesium to help with motility, to keep things moving, because my intestines like to stop doing their job. My colon and everything, they don't work, they stop. And so I have to constantly use supplements and stuff to keep my body getting rid of stuff. What's gone in has to go out. And so GLP-1s for me are just not on the table. And so she's like, well, why don't you do HCG? And so I'm like, I prayed about it, and I have 1 week left in phase 3 of the HCG protocol, and it has gone off like clockwork. It has so much more, the weight, I lost 15 pounds and 15 inches, and that was just a side bonus. My energy is back. My inflammation is down. My pain is much less. My clarity, everything got balanced. And this is what HCG does. It balances, it resets the hypothalamus and balances out your hormones. I'm eating and I'm satisfied. My gut, I could not eat dairy, not even raw dairy. I get raw cow's milk. I even tried goat's milk. There's just that weird little aftertaste with goat's milk. It's like, nope, can't do it. And I couldn't, it just tore my gut up. Since then, I've had dairy every day for the last 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks. Like I said, I've got a week left. It's 3 weeks of phase 3. I have had dairy every day. I make my own yogurt with raw cow's milk. And every evening I have half a cup of yogurt and a half a cup of blueberries. It is such a treat, and it doesn't tear my gut up, just because I did this round and reset everything. So I wanted to share a little bit about my personal journey in how all, and through that HCG journey over the past, well, I think, let's see. So it was 3 weeks in phase 2. Phase 1's only 2 days. And then phase 2 is 3 weeks. And then phase 3 is 3 weeks. So you know what? I'm in 3, 4, 5. I'm 5 weeks in. And in that 5-week time, what the Father has done is completely reset everything to where I'm back coaching from a place of service, because I'm so passionate about other women being able to feel like this at 63, to be able to feel as good as I feel, and to have everything, get things balanced out. So, like I said, I've got support groups on Facebook, considering Discord for those that are not on Facebook. because I don't want it just to be limited to people on Facebook. So I'm not retiring. I'm not stepping back. I'm actually stepping forward with more purpose and passion and with a renewed commitment to serve. So thank you. I never had any intention of Try It Thursdays being about me and my story, but Father always has other plans for us. And so thank you for being here, and let's become new again together. Let me know if you've got any questions, have any, need any information, and let's do this. I love you all, my friends. Bye.